disparities around the world are true. Since the very beginning of our vaccine development program, Pfizer and BioNTech have been firmly committed to working toward equitable and affordable access of COVID-19 vaccines for people around the world. We support and we are in alignment with the guiding principles of the COVAX facility. And we believe that Gavi's coordination of a COVAX advanced market commitment that supports the participation of 92 lower, middle, and low-income economies is an important tool that will help to ensure that developing countries have the same access to vaccines as the rest of the world. And we will provide the vaccine to COVAX for these countries at a not-for-profit base. In this context, I'm very pleased to share that Pfizer and BioNTech have reached an advance purchase agreement with the COVAX facility for up to 40 million initial doses of our COVID-19 vaccine. We expect that the first doses will be delivered in the first quarter of this year. Once we finalize agreements with UNICEF and Akwo, we are coordinating procurement to support the delivery of these vaccines. On December 31st, the last day of last year, our COVID-19 vaccine was the first to be granted a World Health Organization emergency use list. And today we are proud to have this opportunity to provide doses that will support COVAX efforts towards vaccinating healthcare workers at high risk of exposure in developing countries and other vulnerable populations. This is just one step in our long-term commitment to supporting developing countries. As we work to deliver these first doses, we are also bringing resources and expertise that will help to strengthen the global healthcare infrastructure, building on our recent innovations in packaging to manage cold chain requirements, and ensuring that solid systems are in place for vaccine delivery. Establishing the infrastructure needed to deliver breakthrough mRNA vaccines into low-income countries will not only help the world fight this pandemic, because as Tedros said, in this world we are as protected as our neighbor, but also make us more prepared for the next pandemic. We believe that this is a collective responsibility that calls for highly coordinated and collaborative actions by public and private stakeholder alike. I want once more to thank the COVAX partners. I want to thank Gavi, WHO, CEPI, of course UNICEF, Akwo, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, among many others involved, for their leadership and commitment to equity in this fight to end the COVID-19 pandemic. We look forward to continuing to work with them to realize this important shared vision. It is because of the efforts of everyone here today and many more across the global health community that the pharmaceutical industry and other partners that we are one step closer to ending this global health crisis, proving that science will win and will win forever, ever. I'm about to turn things over to you, Seth, but I just couldn't avoid the temptation to say that I'm very glad that this press conference is happening at the day that the United States is rejoining the WHO organization. I think it's a symbolic great day for us. Seth, I would like to turn things over to you now.
So, COVAX, of course, was launched last year because we wanted to avoid the mistakes that we had seen in the H1N1 pandemic, when a small number of high-income countries brought up the global supplies of vaccine, and poorer countries, as well as other countries, were left to fend for themselves. So today, just over 6 weeks since the beginning of the first non-clinical trial vaccine doses being used against the COVID-19 pandemic, we face the prospect of very soon being able to deliver, as you heard from Dr. Tedros, nearly 150 million doses in the first quarter of the year via a global equitable access initiative. This has been made possible by a collective effort by the international community that has helped COVAX raise over $6 billion and secure access to over 2 billion doses. Of course, we can do more, and we need to do more. By our calculation, with the right level of funding in place, COVAX could procure 2.3 billion doses of vaccines in 2021. This would equate to close to 1.8 billion doses for the 92 lower-income countries in the COVAX Advanced Market Commitment, or AMC as we call it. That's enough to protect about 27% of the population in those low and lower middle income countries, which is in excess of the initial targets we laid out to protect those at highest risk. And we have the prospect of more doses to come through both other deals and the dose sharing principles that we announced in December. Continuing with fundraising efforts and advancing further deals with manufacturers will remain a top priority for COVAX in 2021. This includes working with CEPI, our co-lead in COVAX, to exercise first rights of refusals on other vaccines, if proven successful, that are in their R&D portfolio, as well as looking at second-generation vaccines that may be important going forward. Of course, we are also open to other vaccines that are not in the CEPI portfolio if they bring characteristics that are important into the portfolio. But back to the present question, what everybody wants to know is when will we be able to start delivering doses? As I mentioned, we are close for the Pfizer-BioNTech doses with the advanced purchase agreement signed. We need to conclude some of the supply arrangements so we can start shipping doses. The nearly 150 million doses of the AstraZeneca Oxford vaccines are ready to ship pending the WHO pre-qualification process, which is critical to make sure that vaccines are safe and efficacious for countries. I won't preempt anything here, and my colleagues on the panel will certainly answer any questions you have on this to the best of their ability, but the latest guidance is that this is likely to happen in February. In the meantime, we're working with countries to prepare for vaccine rollout. In about 1 week's time, we're looking to provide all 190 participating economies with an indicative allocation of how many doses we hope to